Hey.
It's not the solution. It's not it.
Just saying.
Just keep moving.
Come on, bro.
Just keep moving like regular.
You've seen a lot of these dances come back cyclical. I'm just saying, now that the Chiefs are done and the Ravens are on the verge of being done, the show needs a little bit of pop.
Yeah,
you got
so
your Patriots.
What's going to be the pop?
I still got my Patriots.
I'm bringing back the mannequin challenge.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
If you try to do it throughout the show, bro, we're not.
Don't do it, dude.
You're not. It's back. It's not the answer.
First hour, first thing. We're starting with Steelers Dolphins. Aaron Rodgers goes 23 for 27, 2 touchdowns, send Miami home and out of the playoffs. Rodgers feeling great post game. What's he doing? Rodgers' last two games have been cooking. Completion percentage 85, second highest of his career. He's not cast off. Granted, he brought it all up and ran through all those other guys, and Aaron Glenn flew him out to fire him. But he's not a cast off.
That was an unbelievable sequence.
Was he joking?
No.
No, he wasn't joking. Like, and I think it's fair to say I have been more favorable and probably like Aaron Rodgers more than anyone else on the
I'm
show.
coming around.
Well, yeah,
fair?
but certainly more
I've
than
been-
me historically,
Right.
more than Wilds until recently, where he's coming around. As he
Yeah,
said.
so I like Aaron Rodgers, but that was terrible. All the good things he tried to get out of that, hey, we got some cast-offs. It's great to see these guys win. You just threw it away with that last, no, I'm not a cast-off.
He didn't-
And he
I
was
don't even-
dead serious. He was insulted by the question.
Yes.
But he actually is a cast-off at this point.
Yes.
To your point, I mean, the Jets cast him off.
Yeah.
He flew out to convince them, hey, I still got it. And they casted him off.
No,
but the
15
way
minutes.
he answered that made it seem like it's an insult to be a cast-off. So now all the teammates that you just praised as
But it didn't land.
cast-offs,
Like, are you a cast off? Like, what do you want to say? Like, yes.
He could have joked like, hey, the Jets didn't want me, so I guess I am.
It caught him
Something
off
like that.
guard. It caught him
It
off
definitely
because
caught
he
him off.
was listen, and I know this isn't even the real question. I'll let you
Right.
get to it. He was trying to be nice about his teammates.
Yes.
And I understand in his brain there is, even if the way they left their last team and the way they landed on the Steelers is similar. I'm 4-time MVP, future first ballot Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. They are not. So they're in one bucket, I'm in another. And I really think he was trying to be nice, didn't expect that follow-up, and then snapper, no, I'm not a cast-off.
You're Adam Thielen who throws the ball.
Look, I tend to agree with you,
It's
but I
just
do
funny.
have questions.
Yeah.
Was he trying to be nice, or was he trying to be like,
Look what I've done.
we about to make the playoffs with a bunch of cast-offs?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
I'm
hate
dead
that
serious.
at
Like
all.
that, I think that's part on the
Yeah.
table. All right, what did they prove last night?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh,
Well, okay. Wow.
Not one
See, we're going to be fine,
thing.
Wilds. Bruce is going to carry us.
All right, nothing. All right, it was the Dolphins.
Yeah.
they were hot.
Guess what? Yeah, they were hot.
The weather
but the
was-
weather was cold. All right? And we know what happens to Tua in the cold. The Dolphins in the cold. And look, maybe my most accurate bit was the Dolphins as breakdancers.
You nailed that.
Because last night, look at this.
Last night we have breakdancing?
Look at this. I get it that DK Metcalf is strong and big and tough. But what in the world was that? I mean, he
they're trying
ran
to force-
25 yards just knocking guys down like bowling pins. What in the world is going on? And so that was the problem. But that's who the Steelers went in there and beat. I wasn't fooled by the Dolphins' 4-game win streak. Yeah, the win over Buffalo was good. But outside of that, it was the Jets. They edged
Why are
the
we showing
Commanders.
This seems unfair.
That looked a lot
This
like
is
what I saw
July.
last night. I'm just saying. All right, so look, the Steelers are what the Steelers always have been. I mean, during this run where they make the playoffs and don't win a game in the playoffs. I don't think any differently of them than I thought of them a year ago with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Last year, they were a tough, solid team. They split with the Ravens in the regular season. I think the Ravens will beat them, in the last game of the season because they really need that game. But the Steelers are, I said, what they've generally been. Fortunately for them, the field is not what it usually is in the playoffs. I'm not convinced that they're certainly in the driver's seat over my Ravens. But I am not convinced because they got Detroit next week.
But then Cleveland.
Then they have Cleveland, which they should win.
Yes.
And then if the Ravens beat them, they're tied. And the tiebreakers are crazy. So you probably looked at them.
Right. So this is the way to look at it. If the Ravens beat them, Brew, assuming – I don't want to get into it too much. If they finish with the same record as the Ravens, but the Ravens have beat them this last week, the Ravens should get in.
Really? Because of the head-to-head?
It goes down to common opponent, which benefits Baltimore.
Close, though. It's close.
Right. But it'll be set. But, again, that could flip if somehow the Steelers beat Detroit but lose to Cleveland. Then the divisional record, gives it to Baltimore. Yeah. But we assume the math you have going is that the Ravens
the Steelers lose to Detroit, beat Cleveland, lose right. And the Ravens have their. I know it's not a Ravens.
It kind of
thing.
is.
They got their work cut out for them. I feel good that they can beat the Patriots. Patriots are good. They could beat the Ravens. And then you got Green Bay. I get it. They're depleted without Micah, but still, that's going to be tough.
Listen, there's a very real chance that the Week 18 game doesn't matter. Oh. Because what if Baltimore goes 0-2 against New England and Green Bay, then all Pittsburgh has to do is beat Cleveland.
Right. Oh, and
if Pittsburgh wins both Detroit and Cleveland and Baltimore goes 1-1, then it's a wrap.
Right.
So, that is it. There is a real possibility that Week 18 doesn't matter. If it does, then obviously it'll be the final game of. It'll be Sunday Night Football in Week 18, and in that circumstance, I would give Baltimore a chance. To answer this question about Pittsburgh, I mostly agree with Brew in this regard. The Steelers proved they are once again about the 15th best team in a 32-team league. I look at the entire NFC playoff field plus Detroit as better than them. And the entire AFC playoff field right now better than them, which puts them at 15. And I thought Rodgers was exceptional against Baltimore. I thought his numbers were good last night, but it was, that to me was more about the opponent than Rodgers against Baltimore was chucking it deep for the first time in months. Yesterday was back to what we'd been seeing, which was dink and dunk stuff. But I'm just not going to be suckered in. We are 2 weeks removed from him being like, my teammates need to show up to film studies and run the right routes.
No, but he's been cooking since then.
I think he's had a good season. Not a great season. I think this is a good season. I can't.
And it's a fine swan song. They're going to be above 500, I would imagine. They'll win at least one more. I do think they're going to get into the playoffs. I think that they are right now playing better than Baltimore, and Baltimore's schedule is so much tougher than theirs that I just think they're going to be in a position where they have margin of error that Baltimore doesn't have. But I just don't. The only team that's going to be in the AFC playoff field that I would give them a shot against to break this streak is the Chargers. Because I think the Chargers right now, the Chargers, they could get the Chargers. They also could get the Bills.
Right.
And if they get the Bills, I think they will get annihilated in round one. I think the Texans right now would give them huge problems in round one. And so I think they proved to me, Wilds, they are the class of the AFC North, which is actually more of an indictment on, to me, Baltimore than it is a testament to Pittsburgh.
Let's look at the other side of the ball. Miami eliminated from the playoffs for the second straight year. After going to the playoffs in the first 2 years of the Tua-Mike McDaniel relationship, Tua took 4 sacks, threw 1 wounded duck interception here. That one didn't look good at all. I don't know if Zach Wilson has a theme song, but if he did, it should be queued up. No playoff wins, longest active season droughts. Wow. The Dolphins are there in a quarter of a century, then Hubs' Raiders. Angels play baseball. Are we giving the Angels credit if they just win 1 game of a series, Josh, and that hasn't happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Jets, Sabres, and the Bears. But Nope. Sabres and
Think of the
Bears.
players that-
Can I just make can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Leave that graphic up there. This show has existed for 8 years and 3 months. I am fairly certain that is the first time an Angels or a Sabres logo has been on the screen on this show.
Sabres logo
much
is
less
sick.
simultaneously.
Buffalo
Like I don't
and
think.
And the Angels have had Mike Trout and Shohei.
Yeah, and they've also made
And
the
Joe
playoffs. They just
Madden
kept
as a
getting swept.
manager.
That's our Angels.
That's Angels
Coverage.
And in the spring, we'll cover Angels baseball. What's next for the Dolphins?
I mean, Brew, I don't think Tua should start another game there. You said Zach Wilson.
This year or for
ever.
Oof.
I think Quinn Ewers might be more likely than Zach Wilson. Signing him to that contract was asinine from the moment it happened. That is not second guessing. That is first guessing. I don't have to relitigate it. Trading him is going to be, I think, impossible if you don't attach. You give up a draft pick with him.
Eek.
And releasing him, talking about blowing away the Russell Wilson dead cap number. So you're in a brutal spot.
Would it blow it up? Because he's owed 54 next.
It's 99 million
next
dead.
Okay.
So if they
And Wilson was 85.
yeah. So and Wilson's was the biggest. Prior to Wilson, the record was like 40. And then Russell, it was 80 or 80, whatever it was. This is 99.
Can I kick that around just real
Yeah.
quick? When we talked about how much of an albatross the Russ's contract was going to be on the Broncos, we thought this is going to, submarine them and put them in cap heck for a long time. And then they were in the playoffs, and now they're number one seed.
They dealt
so
with it.
Are there financial moves the Dolphins could do where it doesn't really?
Well, he hit it on Bo Nix.
Yeah, I mean, I think what helped the Broncos was they didn't have a bunch of other expensive players, and their young players hit. Benito was on a rookie deal as a superstar. They drafted a rookie quarterback who, played well enough to get to them playoffs, is playing better this year. Sean Payton did a really good job. Miami has spent a lot of money already.
Yep.
They have expensive roster. It would be, listen, the cap stuff is going to be a problem for the next GM no matter what. I say the next GM because they've already fired the GM.
Yep.
But you cannot win in professional football playing quarterback the way Tua currently plays it. Now, we can have a lot of discussions about did he change fundamentally post-concussions and that stylistically and because of that. But because you used to be able to win to a level the way he played. I watched last night and I've watched this year, and there's a lot of throw and pray and a lot of what I consider just non-competitive quarterbacking. And I just don't think he's a starter in this league at this point, Brew.
Well, first, let me get to the coach, Mike McDaniel, who earlier in the season it seemed like he was going to be gone.
Yeah.
First, we all agree, and I think most football people agree, he is a good offensive mind, beyond a good offensive mind. I think he knows the offensive side of the ball very well. And I got to be honest, like people tease, they think he's nerdy, whatever. I think his players play for him. Like they could have mailed it in when they were 1-6 and everybody was talking about he's out of here and he's going to get fired. They have played hard for him. They won, 5 of their last 7. So they seem to like him. So I'm not sure I get rid of McDaniel. Tua, you talked about all the financial problems with releasing him, which might be their only thing. And you're right. Like last year, I think Tua was 6-5. This year, he's 6-8. But for the most part, I have felt like he's clearly not an upper echelon quarterback that's going to lead you to contention for a Super Bowl. But I have been for the most part convinced that he's a starter. He's a decent starter. Like he's not your answer if you want to try to win the Super Bowl, but his career record, he's 58%, 44-32 as a starter. Without him, they're 9-13. So, I mean, now the last 2 years you brought up, has he changed his approach? Maybe, because the last 2 years that hasn't been the case. But he has been a difference maker for them. I also think we got to look at that franchise. You just showed it, 25 years without winning a playoff. They haven't had unless I'm missing somebody, a legitimate quarterback since Dan Marino. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, they want to.
Yeah.
I mean, they have there's a problem in Miami. I don't know if it's the guys go down there and they just have a bunch of fun in the city or what. And I'm being serious. I don't know, but Tua is not the only problem there. They have not been able to win for a quarter century. And so I think they have bigger problems than just him.
So I don't think they have bigger problems than just him. I do think they have other problems. But I think what you had when McDaniel, because I agree McDaniel is a very good play caller and play designer. And then they spend all these resources on Tyreek and all these great weapons. And McDaniel's biggest strength as a play designer might actually be the run games he can design. Mm-hmm. So you had all of those things, right? You had all those things working to mitigate the limitations of Tua. And for a moment there, was like, oh man, this thing's high flying and fast and all of it. And then once the league realized, oh, he has no second pitch. And if we risk getting beat over the top, we'll never get beat over the top because his arm isn't strong enough anyway, and we can disrupt the timing stuff, it all died.
Yeah.
And when you add to it that I think it would, again, I am speaking maybe a bit from a place of ignorance here, but I watch a lot of football. He plays a style that lends me to believe his doctors have told him beyond anything else you must avoid a big hit, which you just, no quarterback wants to be hit, but if you are almost mandated to just, you can't extra create, you can't run around, you've got to go down, and you don't have the strongest arm, and you're on the record saying, I can't see over the line of scrimmage a lot, and you're bad at the press conferences, all of these things, I just don't know how you can be a starting quarterback in this league. And I'm not trying to kill the guy. I know I just did, but that is like what the record is at this point.
I kind of feel he could start somewhere. Again, he's not your answer. He could start somewhere, but
you would only want him to start at 20% of the salary that he has right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. He's $50 million a year.
14 and 17 in the last 2 years in Miami. All right, Mahomes had surgery yesterday on both his ACL and LCL. Brady, who has experience with his ACL, reaction to this Brady sound.
I think that's great advice, and that's fully what I expect Mahomes to do. I think he and Brady have very similar mentalities. The competitiveness, the drive to be the GOAT, the best ever, to win a bunch of championships. What Brady did, he could have easily stepped away and been the GOAT years before he did, right? And I think Mahomes has that same drive, and I do think Mahomes will approach it that way. Like, I want to get back for week one. And I would bet on him doing it just because of who he is. I also think for him, since he's going to play next season for sure, getting back earlier, sooner rather than later, like if you get back in week one, he's going to be rusty. And as you said yesterday, his style might change a little bit. Yeah. He won't be as mobile, at least initially. The sooner you get back, the sooner you get the rust off. If he can be back to himself by week 5 or whatever, that's better than if you come back in week 1. If you come back in week 4, you might not be yourself till week 9 or 10, and then the season could be over. So I think that's great advice from Brady. I'll say this, Nick, because there's been a lot of talk, and you talked about it yesterday, about the similarities between the injuries, the time it happened with them. And I've said Mahomes is the best I've ever seen. But there's one difference with his injury and Brady's injury. And it's that Brady's career, Brady kind of went from a system quarterback to individually great. And when he got hurt, he had just reached he's one of the best individually. He had just had the year with Moss where he threw 50 touchdowns and all that stuff, won the MVP, his first MVP. Mahomes is individually, at least, his numbers have gone the opposite way, from tremendous initially to mediocre, certainly by his standards. So that's one difference. It'll be interesting to see, does he get back to the light show, as we've all called it, or not?
So I believe Patrick Mahomes is going to be back week 1 of the season because I know that's what he wants to be back. And I think a guy that's Everything he set his mind to as an athlete he's accomplished. I'm going to bet on him. I hope the Chiefs operate this offseason as if he's not going to be.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think that there are things they need to do across platform, if you will, within the team to address what would have been the first failure of the Mahomes era, even if he hadn't gotten hurt.
Right.
So you know what I mean? The pass rush is one thing I've talked about. That is totally, you would want to work on that, whether they snuck into the playoffs or not, whether they, went on a run, whether they went 6-11. That's separate. Whether or not the offensive scheme post-Bieniemy has gotten stale, I think that they would want to look at that no matter whether Patrick had been hurt or not. Like when you're talking about Mike McDaniel, the offensive designer,
if he's fired?
If he's, as an offensive coordinator, like Mike McDaniel, if he gets fired, his next job, I think, will be offensive coordinator, not head coach. I understand it's a different system. I understand it might be out of people's comfort zones. I'd certainly love to pick his brain a bit. That would be if he's healthy or not. But the other thing is this. Since Patrick's been there, they've been like, running back. And now, to be fair, they won a Super Bowl and drafted one in the first round the following year.
But it didn't. I love that we're so
right. But Clyde might have gone one way, but he suffered a very bad injury and then dealt with some real post-traumatic stress from a horrible incident when he was in college and never became the same player. They thought they found lightning in the bottle with Pacheco, who Pacheco was a really good story as a 7th-round pick. 7th-round pick that got you 900 yards. But he always had a ceiling, and then he got hurt and was never close to the same. Patrick Mahomes has never had a 1,000-yard rusher, ever. If you look at the other, contemporary great quarterbacks, Josh has had one 3 of his 8 years. Lamar, and that's not including Lamar's 1,000 yards, 3 of his 8 years. Tom, a quarter of the time. Rodgers, 40% of the time. Peyton, more than half the time. Patrick's now 0 for 8 in years with a 1,000-yard rusher. So if you are building the team this offseason saying, Pat, man, maybe Pat won't be back till week 8, and we're going to be dealing with a backup quarterback starting for us. You know what that player would need? A reliable running game. And so that, to me, is because even though I believe and I hope and I think Patrick will be back week 1, maybe he won't be. And if you want to be able to stay afloat for when he does come back, and if he is back in week 1, ease him back into it. Like, hey, man, we don't need you to be Superman for the offense to work. We have a running back we can hand the ball off to 25 times. That, to me, is, one of the top priorities of this offseason.
While leading up to the Ravens game, Joe Burrow reflected on the need to have fun while contemplating his football future. Then he was shut out for the first time in his career. Okay, Brew, your reaction to everything Joe Burrow.
First, we could cut through a lot of this. And I'm just going to, you guys know I was a reporter. Why didn't somebody ask him? There's a lot of speculation out there that this could be another Andrew Luck situation. Joe, you just said it's to do with football, not the Bengals. Are you contemplating retirement?
Wow.
Well, somebody just ask him that. Because that's what we're all wondering, or it's that, or do you want to leave the Bengals? Ask him both of those things. Now, he spoke very favorably, I thought, about the Bengals. I mean, he said it's not anything to do with Cincinnati. Some people, if they want to really nitpick, he didn't say the Bengals. Did he mean the city?
Yeah.
Maybe. But he also said he trusts the front office to make the right moves. He said, which of course you're going to say, I believe in all the guys in the locker room. But he said all that. And I hope he's a great player. I hope he's not thinking about retirement. I don't know that I don't feel like he needs to be thinking about leaving the Bengals. And everybody seems to be feeling sorry for Joe Burrow. And I'm sorry that he keeps getting hurt, but he is not blameless. Like, I don't feel sorry for him that he's a Bengal. Because the reason one of the major reasons they have not made the playoffs for the 3rd straight year is because he's hurt all the time. And his injuries aren't from being hit, the appendectomy, the wrist, The calf.
You sure do
This
hate
was
having
turf
Well,
toe. This was turf
the wrist
toe.
he did get hit, bro. I mean, he got hit against the Ravens. The wrist he got hurt. But
Didn't he hurt it? It was a mysterious
He
thing.
already had a thing on it. Then he got hit
was
and
kind of
suffered the real
mysterious.
injury. But the calf injury certainly didn't get hit
The
on.
turf toe, I mean, that happens in this. So I'm just saying, like, 2 years ago, he played 10 games. All right, he wasn't that great in those 10 games. They didn't make the playoffs. Last year, he did play 17. That was the defense. We all get that. This year, he's played 5 games. I think if he were healthy the 17 games, I think they would probably be, when you look at the way the AFC North is panned out, they'd probably be the best team in the division.
Defense,
and then going into the playoffs, even with that defense, going into the playoffs with no Chiefs, I think they'd be live to get to the Super Bowl. So I just think some of it's on Burrow, and it shouldn't be this pity party. Oh, poor Joe, he's in Cincinnati, because it's not. He's got some blame too.
Yeah, he definitely has some blame. But the reality of it is when you are a player and you've experienced the success, overall career success, college, national champion, 2 years into the league, he's competing for a Super Bowl title, and then the expectation becomes, I've changed the culture here. We've established who we want to be moving forward. We're going to be winning because of me and because of what I attract. That hasn't happened. And then you start to add on all these injuries. That takes a mental toll and task. It weighs on you. And naturally, Wild, you coach flag football as well. One of the questions that I ask my kids before every single season is, what does winning look like to you? What does it feel like? What is it? Every answer consists of, if not solely, winning. Or, I'm sorry, what does having fun look like to you? Winning.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that he's not winning, it's winning. I don't think people understand this until you kind of put it into your own world. Like, it's the antidote. It's the medicine that literally allows you to cope with whatever's going on. If they were winning right now,
of course,
he wouldn't be sitting with this disposition of disgust. And I'm like, but because of all the injuries, because of the lack of winning, it weighs on you and it causes you to contemplate things that you otherwise wouldn't do. I retired because I was in Miami and was no longer winning. And it didn't have everything to do with the fact that I was in Miami and it was whatever it was, but I had experience being in Green Bay, having success every year in and year out, going to Minnesota, not winning, going to Miami, not winning. And then it was like at some point I lost the love for what it was I was doing it for, and it weighs on you. So I understand where he's coming from. And yes, it has everything to do with all of the above, because a reporter did ask him, is it personal? Is it football related? And he's like, all of the above.
Yeah, I want to, and this is a compliment to Joe Burrow, I promise. I don't believe him. I don't think it has nothing to do with Cincinnati. Maybe it has nothing to do with, Brew alluded to, the city. I think it is your point that after playing for a national championship, then being injured, then immediately playing for a Super Bowl and then a conference championship, he's been in the wilderness for 3 years. Mm-hmm. It has to do with the lack of playing in big-time games and I think deep down in being like, and why is next year going to be different? Like, Trey's going to be gone. The offensive line, they haven't built it yet since I've been here. The defense was good 1 year. And here's the other thing. Joe Burrow is a big-time face of the league superstar guy. He is around enough other businesses, enough other teams, enough other organizations to know what a good organization is.
Correct.
And when you signal to the world, man, I am contemplating my football mortality, and your organization meets that moment by forgetting to hire someone to clean off the seats that weekend's game, that's an embarrassment. Bengals defend leaving snow across stadium seats, potentially violating NFL policy. Show me the Paul Daner tweet.
Poor Grinch.
The Grinch was the victim there? Or?
Hey, thanks for digging out of the snow in single-degree temps and coming to this game. Your seat is covered in snow and ice. Have a blessed day. and the Bengals release a statement like, we shoveled the walkways and there's ushers to help you with your seat. Grow up and be a real franchise. And if you ran a business and your most valuable employee is having some form of existential crisis, which is what Joe had last week, you would make sure, like, hey, let's make sure his favorite coffee's in the break room this week.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we don't have any wildly embarrassing things happen. And the Bengals couldn't do it. So if he's not mad at Cincinnati, he should be. And so I do think that's to do with the fact, I understand, Brew, your point, like, if he were healthy, some of this is solved. But if he were healthy, they're still not championship caliber for a bunch of different reasons.
I have an announcement to make. Miami is looking for a new GM. I would like to throw my hat in the ring.
For Miami?
For Miami.
Okay.
And they're like,
We'd hate to leave
you. Don't have any experience. I'm like, I am running on a one platform concept. Everything possible, I'm going to call Cincinnati and try to get Joe Burrow here. I feel like every GM who doesn't have a quarterback as good as Joe Burrow needs to put together some sort of Godfather offer, present it to Burrow's agent first to let him know that's coming, and the Bengals GM. Is that doable? You're our cap expert.
Oh no, you can trade. It's doable. Andy has a no trade in that, so he could kind of dictate where he wanted to go. What might not be doable is Paul Brown. Is it Paul Brown? Mike Brown. Mike Brown. Pardon me. Might be like, I'm not trading you. You can go retire like Carson Palmer did. I don't care.
This feels very similar to Giannis.
Man,
like if this was the NBA, this guy wants out.
You don't have the press conference he had, then have the worst game of your season and have it be coincidental.
That was.
Why do you? And I hear you guys, and it's fair. But why do you think just totally eliminate the possibility of he's just getting tired of football?
Because he could have
because of the injuries, the hits, all that.
So here's I guess my snap reaction. Nobody would have batted an eye if he didn't come back this year.
Exactly.
Most people thought he wasn't going to come back.
They
were mostly eliminated.
But that's the thing. It was just 2-3 weeks ago he thought they had a shot.
Right.
Now, 1 or 2 weeks, and you're just totally deflated?
Yeah, I honestly think that's it.
I mean, they were what, 3 and 8?
They were.
Bro, it's a different mentality when you're not completely in. When you're fighting to get back on the field, you are consumed with your rehab, getting back. Yes, you understand what's going on as far as wins and losses, but you are believing like, maybe if I get back, the tide will turn. And we're looking at what's going on in that division. We got a shot. The moment he gets back, Jamar Chase doesn't get to play in that game. The game before, he doesn't play, which they could have possibly won that game. He gets back, and things just don't work out the way that he was hoping for. Like
I think if it was just
he's
football,
mentally checking
most
out.
People thought turf toe was going to put him out for the year, and then when they were 3 and 8, I think some people were like, even if you can come back, why are you coming back? And I think the answer was, because he missed football. I think he really does love football. I think he hates playing for nothing.
You don't come back if you don't love the game.
That's what I think.
Dustin,
I know you're from Cincinnati.
I'm not trying to. Cincinnati's a great town. I hope you're right because I don't want to see him retire.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do a quick Jalen Hurts update. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles looked great against the hapless Raiders, who lost their second game of the season by a score of 31-0. First was to the Chiefs. Their latest was to Jalen, who threw 3 touchdowns on Sunday. Do you believe the Eagles' issues are behind them, or is it just nice to play the Raiders?
Look, it was what I wanted to see, right? Blow them out. They're a terrible team. Knicks Raiders are horrible.
They're horrible.
They stink.
31-0.
So they did what they were supposed to do, and everything looked good. The run game was okay. Jalen looked great. AJ got his touchdown. Devontae looked good. But, of course, it was the Raiders, so we're not sure. Let's see what they do. You don't have to beat the Commanders 31-0, but another impressive performance against them would be fine. The bottom line is Jalen Hurts is right. Like, this dude, nothing's going to faze him. I don't care if all his receivers are mouthing off saying he's not good. I mean, this dude got benched at Alabama, goes to Oklahoma, makes it work. Second-round pick. Nobody thinks he's a starter in this league. Gets to 2 Super Bowls. Outplays the best player in the league, Mahomes. Like, he is not going to be fazed by anything, and I think that's a positive for the Eagles. Now, I have not picked them to get to the Super Bowl this year. I didn't at the beginning of the season. But they are alive. Like, there's no world beater in the whole league. Forget just the AFC, the league. You can't tell me they can't play with the Rams. They beat the Rams already. And I get it was early in the season, but still, they beat the Rams. They can't play with Seattle. They can't play with San Francisco. Sure. I mean, Green Bay, now that they're diminished, like, they can beat anybody. Whether they do or not remains to be seen. But they are right there with anybody else in the league.
I'm not convinced yet that their issues are in the past, a thing of the past. I'm not convinced, and largely because they faced no resistance this past week. And they won't until we see them play against the Buffalo Bills, a team that's remaining on their schedule that has something to play for.
I'm interested in
I don't know where they're going to face resistance. They played the Commanders twice.
That's the game I'm supposed
in
to
a couple
go
weeks.
To
So
in Buffalo.
Until I see them face resistance again, it's to be in question. And he may be right. I don't mind that he said it. I didn't care that he said it after this game.
Well,
like
can I also say something? Yes, like Jalen, you are correct. No one has forgotten where you came from. But that is a knife that cuts in both directions. Everyone remembers what a great leader, what a great man you have been, what a great teammate. Mm-hmm. They also all remember why you had to leave Alabama and what happened. And that fact that the questions surrounding your ability to be a consistent, all over the field passer has followed you at multiple levels of football, which is, when we say the Eagles' issues, that's one of the leading candidates this year is the tumult in the passing game. And so him invoking that, it to me was really interesting because, yes, and I remember being on this show saying when he didn't transfer from Alabama, how courageous is an awkward word to use, but how courageous I thought it was and how mature I thought it was and what a great teammate he was, all those things. But also in that moment, everyone was like, good call in benching him though for Tua because you needed to win that game and because Tua was the better passer. And when he went in the second round, nobody batted an eye, despite his great year at Oklahoma, because people were like, questions about him as a passer. So the Eagles' issues to me are, I know they seem like it's about emotion and a funk and all of these things. That is window dressing to, if we don't have a consistent running game, our limitations as a passing team really become glaring. Yeah. And so and that to me has been the big issue with their offense this season. So no, I don't think they're behind him. And I don't think the things that Jalen can pull on from his history fix that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.